What's up, softball players? I'm Coach Dan Blewett. In today's video, let's talk about the routines and the things that you should do during your softball season. All right, so if you're new here, I'm Coach Dan Blewett. I do tons of videos on softball throwing mechanics, on softball throwing drills, fielding footwork, strength training, arm care, mindset, all that stuff. So if you're new here, definitely subscribe and check out some of my other videos because I've got lots of stuff for almost anything that you're looking to learn. So today, let's talk about the things that you should do on a weekly basis during your softball season. So first, let's talk about routines for your major skills. So obviously, like pitchers, I know you're going to pitch every week. You're going to have, you're going to throw your bullpens. You're going to play catch a lot. Like that's a given. We don't really need to talk about that too much. Same thing with hitting. Hitting's fun, right? So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're going to the cage regularly. But the things that get overlooked are your fielding routine and your throwing routine. So your throwing routine, as far as your overhand throwing mechanics, obviously I have tons of videos on throwing mechanics here, but you should have some semblance of a practice throwing routine. That's not just what you do to get warm before the game, which that's really, really, really important, but you should have a couple of drills, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6 drills that a couple days a week when you don't have practice, you're still working on your craft as an overhand thrower, because everyone's goal should be to get to 60 miles per hour before, like your junior year in high school. That's reasonable. I've seen almost every girl who's very devoted and has some athleticism and really works at it can get to that 60 mile per hour mark. And that's a really good throwing velocity where you can definitely play in college and be successful at pretty much any position with that velocity. So you should definitely have a throwing routine in addition to your pitching or your hitting routine. And the other one is your fielding routine. So infielders, this should be you going to, whether it's just like the concrete wall on your back patio or on next to your school. Like I'm sure after school somewhere, like schools are they're ginormous. There's brick walls everywhere. They're made of cinder blocks typically. So there's got to be some place you go after school before you get picked up or whatever. Take a tennis ball and bounce it off yourself. And I have some drills I'll put in the description below. Wall ball is huge. So if you're an infielder, you should be doing daily fielding stuff. And it's so easy to do this with just your hands, or you get one of those paddles. You could take a ping pong paddle, chop off the handle, put some Velcro on the back so you can make your own little paddle and just work on your hands. So again, hitting and pitching is the fun stuff. Obviously not everyone's a pitcher, but the things that get overlooked again are your throwing routine and working on improving your throwing mechanics over time, and your fielding routine. That's a really important one. I don't want to leave out outfielders. Same thing for you outfielders. Work on your pro step footwork, work on drop steps, get someone to throw balls over your shoulder. You can also do this with a wall ball routine by bouncing it right before the wall so it hops up high. You can move back, left, right, work on your footwork, and obviously get someone that you know to hit you fly balls as regularly as possible. There's no way to get better at your judgment and your reads and your reactions without getting actual fly balls. The next one is arm care. This is something that's not as overlooked in baseball because baseball boys hurt their arms a lot because of how hard they throw in the lighter baseball. In softball, arm care is becoming more of a thing, but it's not something that I've seen that many players just do on their own until basically they're hurt or they're starting to hurt, and then someone like me or a strength coach helps them with an arm care routine. But if your arm's not hurting yet, it probably will someday because you softball players play sometimes 6 games in a weekend. That's a lot of strain on your shoulder, and overuse is a very big cause of injury and pain. So an arm care routine, 3 days a week, 20 minutes. It's not hard to do. I have videos for that on my YouTube channel. Even if it's really simple, that's totally fine. You get a couple exercises that you can do in front of the TV. You can do it the field. Blackburns are a great one. I have a whole pull apart series where you take a simple band, you stretch the band apart and pull your shoulder blades together, external rotations, all this stuff. But you need to be diligent with it, and it needs to be 3 days a week or more to have a meaningful effect over time. It doesn't have to be a half hour. There's a really big thing, but 15 or 20 minutes, 3 times a week will make a very big difference, not only for your preventing arm pain, but also for increasing your velocity, because you strengthen these muscles in your rotator cuff, you're going to throw harder. The next one is strength training. And again, I think strength training should be done when you're ready to do it because it's a grind. Once you start strength training, you're not going to stop until you're done playing. So if you're 12 years old and you're like, I don't really feel like doing that, it's kind of intimidating, I don't want to do that, I'm playing other sports, I like doing other things, you still want to be a kid, That's totally fine. But once you're ready and you feel like, hey, I really want to be a better player, I'm starting to see some other players who are more physical than me, who can run faster. They're starting to hit the ball a lot faster. I'm starting to get left behind. I'm a little smaller. Might be time for strength training. Or if you're a little bigger, you're 14, 15, 16, but you've never done it yet. If you're 15-year-old and you haven't done strength training yet, you really want to play in college, you're just behind, unfortunately. Everyone's doing it now, so it's starting to get younger and younger. So really, I think if you're 14 and you've never done strength training before, it's time to start, because you're going to get left behind. You'll have a couple critical years to get physical, big, and strong so that you look the part when a college coach comes to recruit a potential college athlete. They don't want to see little girls. They want to see essentially closer to grown women when they're on the recruiting trail. So if you're not doing strength training yet, it might be time to consider it. Again, everyone's situation is different, but strength training is a really important piece of every high-level player's game. And lastly, I'd say some sort of mental practice, and this doesn't have to be, again, a huge rigorous thing, but just like if you're at the field and you have a little extra time, just finding a spot by yourself where you just lay on your back, stare up in the clouds, or close your eyes and just get 5-10 minutes of quiet time and visualization. I think that's huge. Again, it doesn't have to be this whole dedicated thing. I had a big mental practice that I started when I was 24 or 25, and I wouldn't have been ready for that when I was younger. But when I did finally sit down to do it, it made such a meaningful impact on my career. It allowed me to stay more calm under pressure. It allowed me to handle bad situations where I was stressed. It allowed me to handle slumps a lot better. It just did a lot of positive sort of rewiring of my brain. And even if it's just 5 minutes, just to get away from your teammates, get away from your cell phone, get away from screens for a little bit, having some sort of mental practice of the field, or just like part of your daily ritual on game day, I just think is really, really important. And it's good in this society where you're always sort of on, you're always by your screens and your phone and all that stuff. And it's just good just to disconnect, even if it's a couple minutes, a couple of days a week. All right. So hopefully this helps. I think it's sometimes important just to do one of these sort of checkup videos where I just remind you, like, these are the things that all the high level players tend to do that are really valuable, because sometimes you can be like, oh yeah, I've been doing a lot of hitting and I've been crushing at pitching and I've been crushing in the weight room, but I haven't done any fielding practice on my own in a while. So hopefully this jogged at least just like one thing that you can kick back into your routine and have a really great productive season. All right. So thanks again for watching. Be sure to check out the description below where you'll find some of the videos I alluded to, my online courses, all that other stuff. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you here in the next video.